Hi. So I just finished watching the episode. Uh, Unfortunately. Hi, Chester Westerford here. So I just finished watching the latest episode of Doctor Who. Uh, Unfortunately, right after it finished, we had a power outage. However, I did have enough battery in my camera to film the review, so. Oh man, the last thing I wanted to do was film a scary review in the dark, but. Oh well.
Hey, Chester?
You're. Ah! Oh, it's just you.
Wasn't that scary, was it? I have no idea why you're such a horror fan. You scare so easily. Well, I just wanted to let you know that I called the power company and they said they'll have the power back on by the
The
morning.
morning? You mean I have to go through all night?
Well, I
like
told you
this?
not to watch Doctor Who before you go to bed.
Well, it's not usually that scary. How was I supposed to know?
Well, I'm gonna go gather all the flashlights and lanterns we have. Oh, are you recording?
Yeah, I figured there wasn't much else to do with the light off, so I'm doing my review.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'll let you get back to that then. No.
Thanks. You could do it with me so we're not alone. Okay, so I've been really looking forward to this episode for a long time because I'm a huge Frankenstein fan and somewhat of a horror fan. I love ghost stories and old monster movies. I have no desire to see a slasher film, though. At any rate, this episode did not disappoint me at all. I would even say that it's my favorite episode of the season and probably the whole Chibnall era so far. Now, this is how you do a Doctor Who episode. The characters were fun and well written, the tense parts were tense, the funny parts were funny, the scary parts were scary. The whole thing moved at a pace that draws you in. It moved when it needed to, and it slowed down when it needed to. I have to give credit to the writer Maxine Alderton and the director Emma Sullivan. I really hope they come back in the future. I loved the way Byron and the Shelleys and the others were portrayed. Kind of exactly how I always pictured them from reading about them. Just a group of privileged young intellectuals in the 1800s getting together for a party. And I love the valet rolling his eyes. His character was very humorous. I've been waiting years for Doctor Who to do a ghost story right. They've come close to a few times, like with The Unquiet Dead and Hyde, but there was just something about those that didn't click for me. They're good episodes. I really enjoyed them, but they're just not that really good as haunted house stories. This one, however, really knew how to bring the chills. From the ghosts that Graham kept seeing to the skeleton pieces coming to life, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Of course, they always have to have a scientific explanation for things. It is a sci-fi show, after all. But this time I think that the explanation worked better than the others. In Hyde, it was just that astronaut crying out for help and a weird monster that wanted to get back with its mate, which is fine, but as soon as you introduce those things, it doesn't seem as scary. Here, while there is an explanation, it's still very creepy. The idea of cyber technology taking Shelley over was terrifying, and I felt his terror as it showed him coming back, horrified that no one could see him while not understanding why. Showing them still suffering because of the explanation made the whole thing all the more terrifying, I think. Speaking of explanation, though, I did like how Graham's ghosts weren't explained. We just had the line, "There's no such thing as ghosts." Unless there is. This might be explained later in the show, but I kinda doubt it, and I'm fine with that. I like it when a story like this is left a little open-ended. As far as the Cyberman goes, and what a surprise to see that, or at least I would have been if I hadn't been spoiled on Facebook. Seriously, BBC, wait just a few more hours to start showing stuff, please? Maybe like the next day? Anyways, the new design was terrifying. I know I keep using that word in this review a lot, but I think it deserves it. This has got to be the scariest any Cyberman has ever been. The hodgepodge and half-finished nature of the costume was so well done. I hope whoever designed that costume keeps going on with the show as well. And giving him the rage emotion just made it all the more terrifying. Once again, Jodie was great in this episode. Her speech near the end about whether or not to save Shelley was one of her best performances. Bradley Walsh's Graham was once again very enjoyable. I hope this isn't his last season. I definitely want more of him in the show. He can stay as long as he wants. Ryan was kind of sidelined in this episode, but he had some great moments, like when Polidori challenges him to a duel. His reaction was very well played. Curious to find out what's going on with Yaz in this season. When talking to Claire about Lloyd Byron, Yaz seemed to be thinking about the Doctor. Is Claire's pushing away from Byron foreshadowing how Yaz is going to feel about the Doctor at the end of the season? Are she and maybe the others going to leave due to how the doctor's been treating them this series? That would be a kind of sad but kind of dramatic way to end things. Oh, and one other thing about this episode. I don't think we have to consider Paul McGann's Big Finish adventures to be rewritten after all. There are many ways to headcanon this. For instance, maybe with the influence of the Siberium gone, they all forgot about the events, and the next night is when McGann shows up. Or maybe time was rewritten by the Cybermen so that he never showed up at all. As far as why the doctor wasn't worried about meeting herself, well, maybe she knew it was the next night he appeared, or maybe she just forgot. It was a long time ago for her after all. Anyway, from the production design, to the horror, to the lighting, to the story, to, well, everything just came together for me just right in this episode. I see myself revisiting it a lot in the future. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. See you next time when I review Episode 9, Ascension of the Cybermen. Bailey, I know it's you. You can't fool me. Take that thing off. Bailey, you know, this is kind of mean.
Hey, Chester, what's up?
You're trying to scare me and it's not working. Would you please take that ghost sheet off?
Thanks, Looney.
No problem, Bailey. Is he gonna be okay?
Oh yeah, he'll be fine. He'll just get me back at some point. We play pranks on each other all the time. Well, see you next week, guys.